Welcome back to the DNA Pest Control Podcast with a little bit of a week break.
A little bit.
Little bit.
Thank you for the patience during the hiatus. It's been busy. Hope it's been busy for you guys as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
It is getting up there. We're getting sweaty. It's nice.
It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of calls, a lot of growth. Hopefully everybody is going through the same thing because, yeah, now is the time.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Aaron, you're the man with the plan today.
Yes.
You have what we're going to go through. And, I think this is actually a really relevant topic to a lot of people because so many, we've got it.
Yeah.
Of course, we've done interviews and we've had this pop up during the interview. And there's a way around it. We've had a few episodes in the past. Hopefully the people who are listening don't make the same stupid mistake. And kind of choke themselves out in some sense. But it is really good. It's something that everybody needs to know. They need to learn. They need to understand what it really means. It's a passionate topic for me because throughout my career and even at jobs, I've done it differently. I've seen it with you. You've done it differently, but it doesn't seem to kind of resonate across, past that, and I think there's a reason why people feel stuck where they're at and they don't feel the real true growth is because they do it the same way as all of the other people.
Exactly.
And they're not looking at it in a whole different way.
Exactly.
But with me being very vague and explaining very little, let's jump right into it.
Absolutely. You mentioned growth. You mentioned it's busy. So with that, we've obviously been interviewing and bringing on a lot more talent. And something that's come up that I wanted to talk about is you hear this a lot. I was capped at my last job as a route technician. I couldn't make more. I wanted to make more. I couldn't make more. Even guys that we currently have, and you're going through these review processes, just doing these wellness checks on them. You hear it come up where they want to make more as a route technician. And that's specifically what we wanted to cover today without getting into other branches in terms of management or sales. As a route tech, where does that sit? Now, let me ask you something real quick as we've been doing interviews, because Daniel and I do most of the interviews. He does a lot more than I do because I'm usually out in the field. But
yeah,
what's the first thing that comes into your mind when you hear at an interview when they say, I was capped at my last job or there was no growth there?
Like what I think and not say to them, or what I would think that I want to say to them, but I don't.
Well, both. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, when anybody ever says that I'm capped, I instantly go to your mindset. You.
Yeah.
You're capped because you are capping yourself. That's where I instantly go.
Sure.
You can't tell people that. People don't like that. And there's some laws and things like that you want to follow.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what I go to. Is someone comes in, they say, I feel capped there. There was no growth. There was no room for growth, this and that. And it's so you didn't help grow. You weren't pushing for growth. You weren't, there's a whole nother way to bring that up and say I was at where I was at because, I was pushing for growth. I was doing everything in my power to sell and grow my route. I didn't feel that I was getting the help. And because of that, and the year, the 2 year, the 3 years I was there pushing,
sure.
I never received that help. And so I chose to leave because it didn't seem that they wanted the growth that I wanted.
Okay.
I just said I was capped.
Literally.
It didn't sound like that though. It sounded like they didn't want to help. They weren't doing their part.
Sure.
I was out tagging doors. I was upselling. I was doing everything I could, but they weren't giving me anything back. And because of that, I decided to walk away because it didn't seem that I would be able to grow over there opposed to other places that are willing to help.
Sure. Okay.
But that's what I think when someone says I'm capped.
Yeah. I'm the same way, and you said it before on a couple episodes and even when we speak, off the air too. And was there not enough growth there or not enough growth for you?
Yeah. Or you're not willing to grow.
Sure.
You're just hoping that because I'm here present
Mhm.
and the time I'm here, you need to grow me. You
Right.
need to put me into a new position. You need to make me do other things. It's, and that's what most people expect from a job.
Mhm.
It's, well, I've been here for 5 years, so I'm management.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, but what did you learn?
Mhm.
Nothing. Okay, well then not, I mean, you're not growing, you're
Sure.
just longevity. That's
Sure.
different,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, there's very smart people that study a lot and
Yeah.
they've done so much. That's growing, right? That's growth. They're taking on new things. Like Sylvia is a great example. We had her on. She is studying. She put out a podcast for the ACE to help other people pass the test. Those are the things where people get confused with growth. That's
Mhm.
growth.
Yeah.
You know, when people is when someone's just stagnant at a job, that's not growing. What have you learned? What have you changed? What have you done?
Mhm.
So when people are saying I'm capped, it's like, okay, you're not,
Yeah.
right? I couldn't grow or I wasn't growing. Yeah, because you chose not to.
Right. Right.
You can grow anywhere you want to. You can grow in your current position being a residential route tech, doing the basic of the basic, because you can still go out and study.
Absolutely.
You can go out and listen to things. You can grow. You can add value to yourself so that when you do go to another place,
Mhm.
it's already there.
Exactly.
That's so when people say that, that's also, I disagree with that 100%.
Exactly.
You're not
Exactly.
growing because you don't want to grow.
Mhm.
It's not their fault. It's all you.
Right.
Has nothing to do with them.
Mhm. And you made a few points, which we'll kind of go through a few of the other, because we're talking about interviewees coming in, but
Yeah.
for people who
Yeah.
are, you know, employed or who are with the company, and you made a good point with, I've been here for 5 years. I've been here for 5 years. I show up on time. I do my stops. You and I have had a lot of conversations about this, but there we go. Those of you watching, not listening, just
Oh,
did
I,
some
I I
typing.
hopefully they heard that through the
Yes.
microphone.
Um, Doing your job that's outlined when you accept the job initially
Mhm.
is nothing special.
Yeah.
It's nothing remarkable. It's not going to get you to higher places. Yes, it'll pay for your bills. You'll have a job. You'll have whatever comes with it, but you can't expect to do basic work or what's ever outlined and then expect extra on top of that for not producing extra. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about mindset, skills. What else are you offering there?
Well, it's the basic law of the universe.
Mhm.
Well, actually, economics,
Mhm.
right? What you bring to the economy is what you're going to get back.
Sure.
When you provide labor,
Mhm.
there is a cap on labor.
Yeah.
Now you may find a decent job or construction or oil or something where
Mhm.
they will pay more money,
Sure.
but that's just the industry, right? But even then, there's a cap on labor.
Yeah.
And eventually you're going to blow your knees out or your back, and then you're not going to be able to walk. And there's a lot of consequences involved, right?
Mhm.
But labor, there's a cap. And what most people I don't think understand is like the US, we pay a lot of money for labor.
Mhm.
I know Mexico very well.
Mhm.
They pay construction is the worst paying job in Mexico.
Seriously.
Seriously.
Hmm.
Lowest paid, just garbage. That's
Wow.
what it is. You want to go and you want to work at a McDonald's, they'll give you maybe $75 a week. That's what you get.
Mhm.
That's what you make,
Yeah.
right? But that's what it is. So
Mhm.
labor in other countries, and that's why we typically go and produce a lot of things outside of the country, because the US, we've paid so much for labor
Yeah.
that it's gotten, I mean, absolutely insane, but that's what people don't understand.
Mhm.
And then they start to feel entitled because it's labor and I'm doing a lot. I'm
Mhm.
producing a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I'm getting a lot of jobs done.
Mhm.
Yes. That doesn't mean you're actually learning,
Right.
because eventually that will run out.
Mhm.
You can only go so long and so hard for so many years.
Sure.
Because if it wasn't that way, why are professional players getting out after 20 years,
Hmm.
sometimes 30?
Hmm.
Because their body breaks down,
Yeah.
because you can't produce at a high enough level. And then the next generation comes in,
Hmm.
right? But that's what people don't understand.
Sure.
So when you're doing labor, you're not growing, you're not learning, you're not putting more value to yourself, which then the economy will pay you for that. You're just doing stops, you're doing jobs, you're spraying a house, you're killing a bug. Anyone can do that.
Mhm.
But what do you know about that past? Do you know the chemicals? Do you understand that? Do you understand the mix rates? Do you know how to take an hour job and cut it to 30
Mhm.
and then teach that to the masses? That's valuable.
Yes.
That's growth.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. No, and that's kind of goes to my next point now.
mhm.
So this is for the guys in the truck running. You're in a residential route or like commercial, whatever you're doing. If you've been there a couple months, couple years, and you've been looking around like what the hell's going on? Nothing's changing.
Yeah.
Just some quick tips. I mean, what are some like if you're in that position, what are some things that you would do to either facilitate that growth or try to add value? I mean, you made a good point on cutting down the job time, learning skills to train people, but what are some other things that you can think of?
Well, for me, there's so much that guys can learn, and it's I'm gonna be as nice as I can because whoever listens to it, especially if they're here, they're gonna know. I mean,
Mhm.
not them specifically, but in general. But a lot of the stupid questions I get asked,
Mhm.
and I laugh because I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
I literally don't. I
Mhm.
don't know. How often can you spray Alpine WSG in a house? I don't know. I don't have that memorized,
Mhm.
but I know how to read.
Yeah.
I went and read the label and I sent the answer to the guy. And it was like, dude, you literally have the bottle in your hand and you are spraying it every day
Mhm.
at lunch. Why aren't you reading that?
Yeah.
Tear the label off of the bottle.
Mhm.
As long as it's in the truck, it's legal.
Yeah.
So you can tear that booklet off brand new. So there's not chemicals on it. Have that with you. Go read it on lunch.
Yeah. Okay. So resourcefulness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Resourcefulness.
There we go.
You know, that's one little thing,
Sure.
right? With those labels, that's going to start to teach you how to treat, but
Mhm.
get creative. So, creativeness is another one.
Mhm.
That is another big issue that I've seen with a lot of guys is they say, well, what do I do now? And it's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, where did you spray? Well, the cracks and crevices. Okay, that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
What else do you have? They're like, well, I don't know. I'm calling to ask you.
Mhm.
Well, you got dust. Why don't you try dusting it and see if that works?
Yeah.
You got an IGR, try to put that in your tank. Have you tried that in the past? So being creative with the chemicals that you have, if you've read the labels, now you understand them better.
Mhm.
If you understand them better, then you can start getting more creative with the label itself and
Sure.
understand the treatments and the differences between them
Mhm.
and where you can start to do things. And that could go back to resourcefulness,
Sure.
but that's exactly what I mean is guys, it's like I had to learn it
Mhm.
just like they do.
Yeah.
I had to go through that just as much as they did. And training, that's the other thing is a lot of guys don't listen. We can go through training. I mean, we're doing it, and guys don't pay attention.
No.
We teach them how to do something, they don't do it.
Mhm.
We tell them to do this, they don't do it. We tell them to read the notes, they don't do it. So that's where so many guys get in their head of, well, I'm reliable. I show up on time. I do my route. And it's like, yeah, you're an adult.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
like,
My customers are happy. I give good customer service. It's like I would hope so.
yeah, I would exactly. I
I
would,
would hope so.
yeah. And I'll bring in a perfect example of school because a lot of technicians don't like school.
Mhm.
And that's why they're techs,
Mhm.
unfortunately. you know, they had to find the labor job that would pay a decent amount that they didn't have to go and study for,
Sure.
right? Um, but in school, that's the exact same thing, right? I showed up in high school. I sat in every class.
Mhm.
Well, I should graduate.
Yeah.
No, you didn't do the homework.
Mhm.
You didn't do the work. You didn't pay attention. No, you're not going to pass. You're going to fail.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You didn't even learn. You just showed up. You were just going through the motions. You didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
I've talked to guys who've been in the industry 15, 20 years, even more, and they literally know nothing. They're doing the same thing that they did when they first got into the industry. That first year was their learning year. After that, they pretty much stopped learning.
Right.
For 20 years after. I mean, it's really sad.
It is. It is.
But that's what I mean is there's so much that you can still do to provide value. I'm a guy, I'm a route, I'm learning the label, I'm understanding that, because I'll ask you, if we're like, hey, when can you spray Termidor and when can you not spray Termidor? And a guy in the back was like, I know.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I'll tell you in 5 minutes when I go grab the bottle, but
yeah. If a guy was like, yeah, I know how to do that.
yeah. I'd be like, what are you doing in your free time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It's like, hey, how do you treat for this pest? And a guy in the back's like, oh, hey, this is what I've done, and this is how it's worked for me. I mean, you're gonna look at that guy and be like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
what's going on with him?
There's value there. There's something going on behind the eyeballs. Yeah.
Yeah. You start to have that there. That's where you get the difference. That's where you get that separation. Guys aren't willing to do that.
Okay.
And it kind of goes back into they were too cool for school. So now they're too cool to answer questions and be a part and involved. And then they say, I hit my cap. Okay. Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah.
Of course you did. Starting to see the connection and the pattern of guys that are saying those things are the same guys that aren't willing to learn. They're not willing to do anything. They're not willing to actually open up their mind and figure out something. They're not willing to be creative. I treated this product in this area and it didn't get rid of the pest. So what other product would work or possibly could work? Right. And then let's say, hey, they're calling management. Well, if management tells them an answer, did they actually learn? Or are they calling and asking the same question over and over and over?
Yeah.
They're looking for the easy button, quick and easy, call the guy, get the answer, forget it.
Yeah.
I'll just call him when I need it again.
Yeah.
That's the issue. So you want growth, you want learning, you want to move, you're running a route. Those are some things.
Yeah. No, I think those are great. Like resourcefulness. I know you kind of hit on creativity, making those decisions out in the field, expanding your own knowledge outside of company time, or even if you're route running, you're on your lunch, or I go to label obviously, but there's plenty of other ways to learn. And I think that's great. I mean, obviously, if you guys can think of any more, let us know. But kind of shifting gears to the actual business side of it, outside of being in a truck running a route, some things I wanted to focus on are: do you know your role? Do you know what we got hired on for? Are you a residential route technician? Are you doing estimates? Do you have the ability to do estimates and add more production to get paid more? And I know we talked about it on episodes in the past, but job slip and being worried about what other people are doing, wondering what's going on in the office, wondering what's going on with other technicians. I mean, those are all things that are, to me, like a lot of negatives that people don't see as negatives right away, but they can compound and, in like pretty detrimental like passes like after a while.
I don't know if people get how important it is to do what you're supposed to do. Because when you're a route technician, you're running a residential route, it goes back to I'm capped. Okay. You're capped because you're a residential route, but are you capped because you're a residential route and you didn't want to do anything? Or are you capped because they are actually holding you down, but you're learning, you're growing, you're selling, you're creating more routes for new technicians to come on? What is that? Because if I can say, hey, look, I'll show you my commission statement. I added on 250 customers the last year, bi-monthly customers. I literally created a half a route for a technician. I grew this company. They did not want to keep moving me up or even do an assistant manager or a lead technician or quality control or a trainer or anything, or even into sales. Here it is. I'd say, you know what? You're absolutely right. You're capped. You're capped. They didn't want you. They didn't want you to do anything else.
Yeah.
That I see is you're kept, right? But if you're doing everything and you're doing it, but that's a person who's helping grow,
Exactly.
right? And that's the importance that a lot of guys don't see is when you're doing just your route. And the cool thing is we need guys just to be just route tech guys.
100%.
Like we need that. We really do. To grow the business, you need that. You need a guy who wants to put in a headphone. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He wants to just go through his day and blow through it. And you need that. You
Yeah.
need that. But that's what guys need to understand
Mhm.
is your role as a route tech, a commercial tech, an apartment tech, whatever it is, whatever they call you, stay focused in that.
Mhm.
If I focus on Aaron, I'm not growing. I'm focusing on Aaron.
Mhm.
I am starting to lose what I'm doing. And that's where that job slip comes in, problems happen,
Yeah.
but it's focusing on the job and the task at hand right now. What can I do to better this situation?
Mhm.
To better the route technician that I'm being, right? Then that starts to help, but it starts to solidify once everyone understands their role and they settle into that and they don't care about anything else. The growth is exponential and the potential is huge. And then you go back and you start focusing on what can I learn and how can I grow because
Yeah.
those positions are going to open. But I at least held my route down. And during that, I've expanded my knowledge to be able to take on more as the company's growing, as I'm holding down my 500 customers, my 600 customers, or whatever they can add on to you.
Mhm.
That's where guys don't get it.
Yeah.
But it's business, and a lot of techs out there who are getting into the pest control industry and business, creating their own company, you're going to start to understand that.
Sure.
And then you may look back on your career and say, dude, I was that same idiot
Mhm.
that I have now. I was that guy.
Mhm.
And now how are you going to explain to him, don't be that guy?
Yeah.
It gets kind of difficult.
Mhm.
But there is such an importance there of staying in your position and in your role for that time, um, knowing that it will change, something will happen as long as you're providing that value back to yourself.
Sure.
You know, it will change. It is going to be different. Don't expect 6 months though. Don't expect a year.
Mhm.
It doesn't happen that way. I mean, unless an investment company comes in and just is shoveling millions at a company,
Mhm.
you're probably not going to see this massive jump in, hey, now we have 100 techs in a year. It's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, but in 5 years,
Mhm.
there's a huge jump. In 10 years, it could be massive. You could
Yeah.
have dozens of guys and way more positions, but you have to give it time.
That's funny you say that. It's literally one of the bullet points I made on here
Oh,
is, things that are worthwhile, especially in a business setting, take way longer than people give credit for and want to accept in reality.
yeah.
And it's the compounding effect of time and consistency that actually equals results. I mean, I haven't even been in the industry for that long. I just hit my 2 year in this industry, and then I'm coming up on my 2 years licensed, and that's nothing. At least that's the way I view it. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
keeps me realizing like I have to keep learning. I have to keep growing that. Um, you were talking a little bit about the positions themselves and the job slip. Uh, Something I see techs shoot themselves in the foot with is they think they're doing things that add value versus what's actually adding value.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
you've been in it for a while, but some of the things that I see are, we have guys who, I mean, they ask to help out with random stuff that's not really in their job description.
Mhm.
They overhear a conversation and they want to do somebody else's job versus focusing on what they're doing.
Mhm.
You know, what are other things that you can think of where a technician, it's like, oh, I think I'm doing so much for them when in reality they're hurting themselves.
Uh, I see that in well, the most relevant one is communication.
It's huge.
It's I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to do my job and I'm going to hope that they just recognize what I'm doing
Mhm,
and they don't talk. That's detrimental.
mhm.
Uh And that's where so many guys don't get it. But it's blue collar too, right? It's
Mhm.
suck it up, dude. You're a man. Like,
Yeah.
go figure it out. But also it's talk it out,
Yeah.
figure it out. You're not happy, you're upset, whatever it is. But that I see.
Mhm.
You get it a lot, like what you just said is somebody said something, or um the office isn't calling customers, or there's not this line on the door tag, and it's like, well, I can design the door tag, and it's like, yeah, but we don't need you to.
Mhm.
We don't need you to do that. We need you to stay in and doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
because that's important. I
Yeah.
don't need you to do everything else, because if you start doing everything else, now who's going to do your job?
Exactly. It's like you're the German cockroach specialist. You're the one who's doing these treatments, on a consistent basis for all these apartment complexes. We don't need you to do marketing or you know what I mean?
Yeah, but now let's say the guy's like, yeah, but like I want to help in a better way.
Mhm.
Like, isn't there something else I can do? And it's, yeah, there is.
Mhm.
Create a cockroach training program.
Mhm.
Do you have one? You
Yeah.
don't have one? Great, create it.
Mhm.
Create it and show it to them.
Exactly.
Do it on your off time. You want to provide value?
Mhm.
Do that.
Mhm.
And guess what? This is the coolest thing. Let's say you do it, okay? You do it, they take it, they still don't appreciate who you are.
Mhm.
Guess what you just created? A cockroach training program.
Bingo.
You can go anywhere and say, do you have a cockroach training program? Because I have created one. And this is the success I've had because of this program. And these are the technicians I've trained with this program that has created more and more success.
Mhm.
You can actually call them and ask them how it worked out and if they're still following it. And here's a copy of it.
Yeah.
I'd love to share it with you,
Mhm.
or I'd love to share part of it with you.
Simple as that.
But that's what people don't want.
Mhm.
I actually read a meme. It falls right in line with this, and someone put it out there, and they said, just because you're getting paid less than what you feel you should be paid doesn't mean that you shouldn't, work as hard. And someone in the comment just put, yes, it is. And I just cracked up laughing, especially with the whole situation
Yeah.
we just had. But no, it's not. It's not, because what people don't get, and they hear that and it's funny, but it's, you are literally destroying you.
Yeah.
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
You're not hurting the company.
Mhm.
The company doesn't, like, yeah, it may like kind of suck, but eventually they're going to fire you,
Mhm.
or you're going to leave. But you've already created such a shitty habit.
Yeah.
That now when you go somewhere else, you're not going to just miraculously change.
Mhm.
You've been doing it for a year. Like, you can't just suddenly be better,
Agreed.
So that's what people have to understand. That's what technicians need to know. You're expecting to get this massive bonus and all of this praise when you've done nothing,
Mhm.
or you've showed up for your job. And it's, you need to put in that extra time. You need to put in that more. You need to do it after hours, on the weekends. Jonathan, was it Jonathan?
Johnny Slate.
Yeah. That's the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, if he is not making a lot of money in the next 5 to 10 years, it's because he like jumped off a bridge and broke his legs and he just doesn't want to, or something. Like,
Mhm.
there's no way that he's not going to be doing good in the future.
That's true. That's so true.
It's there, and he understands there's a delay to that.
Yeah.
And there's even a delay in business. This is another thing guys don't understand. Cool. I put out a ton of advertising. We don't start to see that until a couple weeks later, a
Yeah.
month later,
Sure.
6 months later. You don't see that. So there's delays in these things. So you
Mhm.
do something good for yourself today. And if you do it consistently, you're not going to see a result today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're going to see it in a month. We talk about working out. You don't see that tomorrow. You see that in 6 months.
Yeah.
You're building a muscle. You don't see that muscle growth for 6 months to a year. That's the delay.
Yeah.
So you think you're going to go in, you think you're going to do these things. Remember, the consistency side of it is behind the closed doors. It's away from running the route. It's, what are you doing on your break, on your lunch? And that's starting to build that path to the next level.
Yeah.
And that all, intertwines with literally from the beginning of this conversation up till now. It's what are you guys doing on a consistent level to show that growth in that level?
Yeah.
And are you staying in your lane while you're doing it?
I think that's huge. And I think I really appreciate you bringing up the communication part of it, because people will have a hard time communicating and they don't realize that it is business and this is our livelihood.
Yeah.
And, you say this phrase a lot, you can't feed a closed mouth. I don't know how to help if I don't know what's going on,
Yeah.
and I think that whatever position or situation you're in, where if the path is clear or if the path is unclear, it's actually a positive to bring up concerns if they're legitimate concerns with, the valid reasons that you're bringing them up to management or to your direct supervisor, because it shows that you actually care. It
Mhm.
shows that you actually do want to have a piece of the pie for longevity. And that's what we kind of been talking about.
Yeah.
You're a route technician, you don't know what those next steps are. Ask, what do you like to do? What do you want to do? And then in your specific role, if it's lined out, now I haven't been in the industry a while, so I don't know. We have dialed in our structure and where the next steps for growth are. If those aren't there, bring that up. If they are there, hey, call them out. It's like, you said at the 6-month mark, we were going to start making that transition. What's going on? And if you don't bring that up or don't say anything, you can't be mad at them for not. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I do. And we saw that just recently, and we're going to keep seeing that. Is it's like, well, Aaron said this and at this date. And it's like, okay, but did you follow up?
Mhm.
Well, no. Where is the responsibility of being an adult
Mhm.
and just in the industry, right?
Sure.
It's not there.
Yeah.
And guys will be like, well, they didn't talk to me again and they said they would. And it's like, but did you try to talk to them?
Mhm.
No. So, okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to say to that? So that's the thing that guys need to understand out there in the field. It's like management's going to talk to you. And this, once again, it could be an underlying test. It's like, hey, we talked to 10 guys. We told all 10 guys that we're going to make them an assistant manager, and only one showed up. And
Only one actually gives,
yeah. And one came to us and started pressing us on it.
Mhm.
He's our guy.
Mhm.
And then the other 9 are going to be like, oh, you gave it to him. You said you would give it to me. And it's like, yeah, but you never said anything.
Mhm.
You didn't come talk to me again.
Yeah.
I said I wanted to, and you just shut your mouth.
Dude, I think that's such a perfect point, because people will take those conversations. I'm having a conversation with a relatively new guy who's doing well. And I'm like, hey, I think you'd be a great account manager someday, or I think you'd be a great assistant technician manager. I think you'd be something great. And then they come to me 6 months later, like you said, and they're like, well, you never did that. You didn't talk to me about that. It's like, yeah, in the past 6 months, what have you done?
Mhm.
You call out all the time. You have, you know what I mean? It's all these things that are compiling on. Where does it make sense that you would even come to that conclusion? And you have to be brutally honest, which Daniel's teaching me on that. I'm getting a lot better at it,
Yeah.
but it does go a long way. And it's not breaking them down. I mean, it is, but it's really cutting the fluff out. Where does everybody actually sit? Where are you at? Where do you want to be? And what does that look like in between?
Yeah. And, you know, with an example of that is I literally just did an interview yesterday. And at the end of the interview, he started asking some questions, about the position and things like that. And what I said to him was, look, this is what we are looking for.
Mhm.
We need a guy who can do these things
Mhm.
specifically. That's it. With the hope that you can grow to become a technician manager.
Yeah.
And take on those responsibilities. But these responsibilities have to be taken care of first.
Mhm.
Training guys, quality control behind the guys, doing all of these things. That's what we need. I said, and that's what we're looking for.
Mhm.
We're looking to grow, and we can only grow as fast as we have as a good team, right?
Sure.
Me and you can do a lot. We can't grow without the help of the team,
Of course not.
without the guys. And I made it very, very clear to him, this is what it is, and this is what we're looking for. You want to move forward with that? We can move forward with that.
Mhm.
Right. And that's where we need your help. But you have to be able to do these things.
Yeah.
It was very, very clear. but that's what it is. It's like, that's what I want to see. We want to see those guys step into those positions and understand this is my role and this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
And I even told them the technician manager position isn't going to be opening up. It may be in 6 months. It could be sooner. It could be in a year. It could be 2. We don't know. But it all depends on how well we're holding our position down.
Mhm.
And that was where it's like, hey, look, you understand that, right?
Yeah.
Your position isn't to come into the office. Your position's to be a technician.
Yeah.
You hold that down, you learn, you grow, you do the best you can. Boom. Now we can start opening up those positions.
I love that. I love that. And that's actually frames it really well. So we went over what it means to be capped, or what people,
Yeah, you're capped.
Exactly. So we went over that. What you can do actually in the field, what you can do on the business side of it and communication. Now, how to execute that.
What do you mean?
I mean,
like as a technician, how to execute it?
As a technician,
Okay.
How do you ask for more money?
Well, Aaron, I really want to be here. I don't know if I can stay if you don't give me more money.
That's all you're giving me?
No, that's okay. Yeah, no, that's a terrible. Don't do that because yeah, you're creating your career suicide if you do that. Well, I've answered a lot of those. What do you think it looks like? What do you want to hear from a guy? How would you handle it? And this is coming from a guy who's never asked for more money.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I'm big on receipts. I'm
Okay.
big on time. I'm big on and I don't mean time for longevity. I mean quality time. Let me be specific there.
Okay.
Let's say I was a route technician and I've done what the job has asked me to do. And with the extra incentives, I've blown that out. I make sure that I have an actual track record. I make sure that I'm doing everything flawlessly and then some. I'm making sure that I am taking on those extra appointments. I am offering to work more. I'm asking, hey, what else is there? And if I feel like you can't give me any more based on what my current position is, I'm having an honest conversation and saying, I don't like starting it with I've been here for X amount because that, you know what I mean? X amount of time, because that immediately just kind of throws it off. I want to hear, this is what I want. This is what I've done. This is what I've learned. Where does that look like? And can we make that work?
Yeah.
And I know it sounds really simple, but that's literally all it has to be. I would much rather have somebody come in and say, I want to make X amount, or I want to be doing this. What can we do to get there? Straight up. Not, I have all these bills. I'm going through something. You're not paying me enough. It's hard out there. And I'm toning myself down because we hear it a lot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and you're right on that. Right. And that's exactly what I would say too, is if I'm sitting down with someone and it's like, hey, look, it's been a year. I haven't called out. I've been doing in my opinion, because I've not had any feedback come to me, a phenomenal job. I haven't had any complaints. You know, I think it is time to start looking at where I can make more money or where I can take on more responsibilities to help out. And with that, I do expect higher compensation. You know, and this is the other thing that people are really, really scared of doing. You know, they want that answer right there in the moment. It's, I'll give you a couple days to figure it out. You know, we don't have to go over this right now. I know I just sprung this on you. It's a lot. But I want it to work here. I want to grow here. And this is, I'm open for it, and I'm willing to work. I'm willing to put in the hours because I've proven it. It's been a year.
Yeah.
Okay. So think about it. Let's sit back down. What day would work for you, manager, to sit back down? Boom, X date. Okay, great. I would really enjoy anywhere from X dollar amount to X dollar amount of a raise in compensation for everything that I have done and the extra work I've put in. Because I haven't been just doing nothing. I've learned a ton. I've been doing a lot. I've put in that extra work. I do feel like I need some sort of compensation now, but I do want you to know that I'm willing to take and I want to take on more responsibilities and more of the workload whenever we have that plan set out, and I want to set date for that.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to do that where it doesn't have to be like, well, I want it now, or I may have to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, then go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And where people always say it's like, it's not always about money. It's always about the money.
Yes, it is.
What are you talking about? It's not about the money.
Yeah.
It is about the money. Everything is about the money.
Mm-hmm.
I can't buy a car without money.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want me to buy a car with time?
Yeah.
I can't buy it with time.
Yeah.
I need money. I can't put gas in my car without money.
Yeah.
I can't go have a dinner without money. I can't buy groceries without money. It's all about money.
Yeah.
Of course it is. But there is a level of what the economy will pay you and what you're putting into it.
Mm-hmm.
If you are putting in less than, there is going to be a point where the economy is going to fall with you.
Yeah.
It will. It always does.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the free market that we're in.
Yeah.
It is what it is. If you're providing more value, the economy will follow.
Yeah.
It has to.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because somebody will see what you're doing and somebody will pay you more.
Yes.
Always. Or you're putting in more because the opportunity is higher than that and the economy will follow with it.
Yeah.
Because there always is that, right? You start a pest control company, we start doing awesome treatments, we're doing really well. There is a lag time between the work I'm putting in and the economy that follows it.
Sure.
Because we have to grow to that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you do get into business, understand that too. You can think you're worth $1 million, but if you don't have $1 million to be worth, then it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But there is that value there. But there is always going to be a lag time behind it to where you finally start to make more money.
Exactly.
But you have to put in that time. You have to put in that work. So for those guys, that's what you have to understand when you're sitting down with management is I want to learn. I want to take off some things. I want to do a little bit more if that's a possibility. Or this is the other thing that guys don't want to ask. What do I need to do to be able to create a better position? Because if the manager's like, hey, you want to be a manager, but it's you and another tech, but you can't be a manager.
Mm-hmm.
So then asking, what can I do to do that?
Let's get selling.
Yeah.
Or whatever that may look
Yeah,
like.
yeah,
What
whatever.
you're saying.
But that's what I mean is how do I create that?
Yeah.
What do I have to do to do that? Right. We sit down, we have, our talks and it's, hey, this is what I want to do. And this is kind of what I want to get into.
Yeah.
And it's, Kate, this is what we have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you don't want to weigh it, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I can only tell you, hey, it's not there yet, but we can get there.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to provide these things. We got to find a guy. We got to put some people in these positions, and then we can start to create that. But until we don't, until we have those people in those places, we can't do that yet. So there's going to be a delay between that. But it's what can I do to get there quicker?
Yeah.
Or what can I do to do my part so that does open up? And that I am the guy for that position when it does.
Yeah.
Is that a possibility?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get it. There's not an assistant manager position open yet, but when there does, when it does open, what do I need to know to be able to take that? And how can I get that?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to train my replacement?
Mm-hmm.
Please. When and where?
Yeah.
That's the conversation guys need to have with their management or the owner or whoever, because that starts to create that. That starts to say, wow, there is growth. There is no cap. I'm not at the ceiling. Have you ever trained someone? No. Well, you haven't hit your cap yet.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done all the bed bug treatments, cockroach treatments, seen success, heat treatments, exclusion work, rodents? You haven't hit your cap yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to tell you that right now. But what are you doing there? What does that conversation look like with your manager so that you can prepare yourself for that?
I agree with you 100%. It's transparency.
Yeah.
Intent and preparation.
100%.
I think that you can obviously tell if somebody has a bad day, is frustrated, comes in and then ruins everything because they get upset and they're like, I need to make more because I had a bad day yesterday, versus that's a completely different conversation than somebody who has thought this out and has had critical thinking about it and has explored other options and has gotten feedback from management, who has asked those hard questions. That's the person who I actually want to sit down with and create that plan for.
Yeah, and guys need to know it's once again, it comes back to what are you doing on your off time?
Mhm,
What are you learning? What skills are you gaining?
mhm,
You know, you can have that conversation with management,
mhm.
but then you don't do anything.
Yeah. On that, real quick. It doesn't have to be sitting there like having a label by your nightstand and reading that. But like for me specifically, it's like I'm learning how to speak Spanish. I
Mhm.
have like I listen to mindset podcasts, communication stuff, sales, which kind of translate to talking to the team, talking to customers. It doesn't have to be about just like a insect or a rodent, but
No.
how are you developing and growing yourself? I think is the point.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is it's, hey, is there something I can help out with the meeting? Can I talk about an insect? Can I talk about a treatment method? Can I talk about a label? Can I train some guys with that?
Yeah.
Stepping into those situations start to show that you're willing to grow and you want to grow.
Mhm.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to teach about a label, well, you better know the label.
Yeah.
So you're going to go study the label
Yeah.
so that you can go out and get ready for the meeting that you're going to have with all your guys.
Exactly.
That's what we're talking about.
Exactly.
That's what we're seeing. That's what we want to see. That's what companies want to see. That's why you see guys who just skyrocket to the top and other guys who've literally stayed the same, but they were hired at the same time.
Mhm.
It's because one was willing. Sometimes it is politics. Sometimes it is who does that person like more than the other.
Sure.
Always happens. But once again, it's all coming back to the economy.
Agreed.
The more you know, it's going to start going. The more value you're bringing, it's going to start going up.
Mhm.
Whether it's there at that place or somewhere else.
Yeah.
But don't hop, because that's another big issue in our industry. And I don't know if that was on the list, is jumping to the next company for a raise
Mhm.
isn't actually growing.
Mhm.
You're just changing colors and a logo.
Well, but I'm making more money.
Yeah, you are.
So how is that not growing?
Oh, see, now that's a good question.
Mhm.
But that's where people get a confusion there, right? Your growth is a dollar amount. That's not growing. That's not growing at all. Because I bet that same person who got a dollar more is still living paycheck to paycheck. You didn't grow, you didn't learn, you didn't change. So yeah, you may get paid more over there.
Yeah.
Because they may have more resources and they're going to pay you more.
Yeah.
But where's the opportunity?
Mhm.
And that's another big thing and a whole other thing that it's, if you're going to school, you'll understand and you'll start to learn is opportunity cost. How much is that costing you to go somewhere else? We'll jump in a little bit more. The guy that we just talked to. I hate residential. I don't want to do it. Stupid. I'd rather not. I'd rather stay away from it as far as I can. Fast forward. Guy sits down, says, this company is willing to pay me X amount of dollars to do a residential route. So you're going to go somewhere to do the thing that you absolutely hate
Mhm.
because it's more money.
Yeah.
And you now hit the reset button and you're going right back to square one.
Yeah.
Opportunity cost.
Mhm.
Your opportunity over there for the little growth, because you're not going to learn anything.
Yeah.
They're not going to spend time with you. Your job is to run a residential route.
That's it.
That's it. You're not learning anything else. So when you go from that job, because you're not going to be happy there, to the next job, and that next job says, what do you know? What did you do at this last job for a year? I ran a residential route. Did you do any rodent exclusion?
Mhm.
No. What did you do? Bed bugs? No, but the company prior I did, and they're looking at that. Well, you haven't been doing it for a year. You know how much has changed within that year?
Yeah.
Treatments, chemicals, everything. It may not even be the same. Why you're not relevant.
Mhm.
That's the problem.
I see.
So you're not growing, you're moving.
Mhm.
And you're confusing movement with growth, which is it happens all the time.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
But movement, even though it's a dollar, is not growing. You did not grow your knowledge. You did not learn anything new. You never gained any new skill. You just got paid a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. We go back to labor jobs. Great. You're a laborer. You can get paid 18 here. You go do construction, you may get 25. You do construction depending on the place, New York, San Francisco, Bay Area, LA. Yeah, you may be at 35.
Yeah.
Cool. You just got paid more money.
Yeah.
What did you learn to do? Nothing.
Yeah.
You still know how to dig a hole or pound in a nail.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You didn't grow. You just changed locations and now you're getting paid a little bit more money.
Yeah.
Now you say, okay, well, I'm moving to Nebraska. There's a lot of oil stuff out there. They're drilling. It's going crazy. They're going to pay me $55 an hour. Cool. You didn't grow.
Yeah.
You moved. You're getting paid more. Yes. You did not learn anything and you're still a laborer. How much is that manager making over there at oil? Probably a lot more than you are.
Mm-hmm.
And above him, probably a lot more than him.
Sure.
And it keeps going up and up and up. But will you ever get to that? No, because once you're out there and you're doing oil, well, you can't go back to being a pest control tech at 18 now.
Yeah.
So now you got to stick out there and hopefully find another oil company that'll pay you 56. And then you're doing the same exact thing you would have been doing here. You're just doing it over there.
Okay.
And now you don't live close to family. You're miserable. You hate your life. It's terrible hours and you're breaking your back.
I see.
It goes back to the same as you can start to confuse that, but it doesn't get you anywhere at the end of the day.
No.
As much as you want to say whatever you want to say, it is growing. No, it's not. It's not growing.
Yeah.
I got paid shit, like literally nothing. I didn't get paid anything for like 4 years. And I was knocking doors. I was selling. I was training. I was recruiting. I was learning so much and I got paid nothing for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that the knowledge and what I was gaining personally, the value eventually was going to catch up. Not then, but I understood that. I knew that it wasn't there. Even here, it's like, dude, you start a company, you put in 6 days a week, 7 days a week, sometimes 24-hour shifts, 10 hours, 12 hours, 20 plus accounts. You're literally killing yourself. You get home at night at 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night, eat dinner, fall asleep on the couch watching a show because you're so tired, to wake right back up at 5 a.m. again to do it all over again. You're literally non-existent and a zombie for years on end. There's no pay involved. Like, it's not like it's like, look at my lifestyle. This is awesome.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's hard. People don't know that.
Yeah.
So when you go for $1 more over there, it's not growing.
Yeah.
And even during that 6-7 day process, what are you doing to grow yourself? I didn't listen to music for like 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I literally,
like
the only time I listened to music, I think, was in the gym. Like music was non-existent in my life.
Yeah.
Like I used to know every new freaking song that came out. Like it just died.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like podcasts, audiobooks. That's like literally all I filled my head with for years. But it was because I knew I'm running a route. I have the freedom right now just to throw in an AirPod and go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I just went, and that's all I did. I mean, it was literally one in one ear. Once it died, throw it in, pop in the next, and just listening for 8, 9, 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Non-stop. That's what guys need to understand.
Yeah.
You want to create the value, you want to create the growth, even though you're running a route, even though you feel like you're not doing anything, you feel like you're capped. Learn, and then eventually it all starts to even itself out. But you have to constantly be pushing and growing and pushing and growing and pushing and growing. And it's not just for a year. It's not for 2 years. I'm able to now cut back a little bit. I can listen to music, and now I don't get it, any time to listen as much as I'd like to audiobooks and things like that, because I'm not in a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not running a route. I don't get that luxury of just throwing it in and going. So now I have to do that whenever I have that little bit of free time to do it. Now it's reading more instead of listening.
Yeah.
But it's understanding, are you still putting in that growth?
Mm-hmm.
So if someone asked me, but I moved and I made $1 more, that's my answer.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Exactly.
You didn't grow and you didn't learn anything.
No. not even a little bit.
So sorry, long-winded.
No,
Very,
you're
very.
good. No, you're good. And I'm actually really glad that you kind of elaborated on that. And guys, I hope this does help. I know every company's different, every situation's different, positions are different.
Yeah.
But the idea of it was if you're feeling capped, kind of doing a little soul searching, some introspection, what are you doing to benefit or add value to yourself? What does that actually look like? How to have those uncomfortable conversations, because right now it is a mass jumping ship season. So we're having a
Oh, yeah.
flood of applicants come in and, we're hearing it all the time. Like my company cut me. I'm looking for a new place here and there. So I just hope that it does, and if we're wrong, tell us we're wrong. This is just based on our
Yeah.
end. You guys are out there running a vehicle. You guys are out there actually doing it. Please let us know what's worked, what hasn't. We wanted to touch base on this because we have been getting a little more on the technician and actual pest control side of it. But now this is a little bit more for you guys in your career. So please, here's something you liked, hated, let us know. We have our Q&A coming at the end of this month.
Mhm.
If you didn't listen to the May one, it was really good. We have episodes that drop every Monday and Thursday. So follow us on our social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook group. You can keep up with us. But thank you again for listening to the DNA Pest Control Podcast.